Hello, Jock, my review for the Castlevania anime. For those who ain't in the loop, this is like a Western anime, not the usual Japanese stuff. It's about this vampire hunter kid who crosses paths with a witch and this rebellious brat with daddy issues. So the deal is these three want to take down the big boss vampire, Dracula. Yeah, it kind of follows the classic isekai vibe where they form a crew and take out the Demon King. Pretty much sums up the storyline of this anime. Now let's dive into the cool bits about this show. The animation's top-notch, seriously impressive for a Western animated series. Of course, compared to those Japanese animations, it's a bit behind the curve, but hey, even your favorite superhero animations fall short compared to this one, in my humble opinion. As for the story, I'm totally vibing with it. It's seriously awesome, Jock. Ha ha ha, I rarely watch Western cartoons, and they usually pack some over-the-top propaganda, right? Ha ha. Usually there's some agenda pushed in there somewhere, but this one's not hitting you over the head with it, you know? Sure, if you really pay attention, there's a hint of LGBTQ+ stuff going on, but it's not in your face, because this anime isn't all about that. Alright, now for the downsides. Even though I was really digging the story of this anime, gotta say, this part left me a tad disappointed. Why's the storyline dragging on so much? So many chit-chats, unnecessary scenes, and those filler plots that just keep things rolling without adding much substance. Let's talk about the abundance of dialogue that could have been way shorter. If you watch this anime, you'll notice tons of lengthy dialogues that are just all talk and no action. From planning strategies to even blabbering before sleep, man, it's all just too long-winded for my taste. Why not cut to the chase? Keep those conversations concise. And it would have been nice if those dialogues actually tied into the storyline. Most of the time, they're just detached from it, even though they don't need to be this long. Seriously, watching this anime is like watching a theater play. No kidding. Now, let's delve into those unnecessary scenes. The plot of this anime is swamped with fillers, even though a single episode could have covered the story just fine. But here, they stretch it out to like 2 or more episodes. Seriously, there's so much fluff in this anime, showing random stuff, changing points of view, and even throwing in things that have zero connection to the main story. Seriously bizarre. And you know what? If they just axed all the unnecessary bits and focused on the story, this anime would have been super cool. But nope, instead it's all about the dragging plot and endless dialogues. The story would have moved on just fine with or without all that, but it's like they gotta waste time like that. Man, I have no idea what the director was thinking. And let's talk about the sound aspect too, which, according to me, is the downside of this anime. Oh yeah, underline this, it's not because this anime is Western made that the sound is bad. If they used Japanese voices, it would be cool, you know what I mean? Here, the issue is with the sound effects and background music, not the dubbing. From season 1 to 3, I used the English dub, and for season 4, I switched to the Japanese dub. Even with the Japanese dub, the sound part of this anime is still weak, man. The sound effects, there are some really awesome fight moments. Seriously. From choreography to camera angles, they nailed it, I gotta admit. But when it comes to sound effects, it's like a comedy show. Even during fight scenes that should be jaw-dropping. The only difference is if the fight is sped up or slowed down, that's it. The sound effects remain pretty much the same. When they could have added some booming sound effects or some full bass. You know, instead it's like they downloaded sound effects from YouTube. And you know what's even more absurd? There are so many exploding scenes or fire scenes in this anime, but the sound is just meh. They could have executed it better, especially during the fight scenes. Such a shame that the choreography is awesome, but the sound is just average. And as for the background music, again, it's just average, no wow factor. They should have come up with cooler background music considering the lackluster sound effects. If the background music was great, it would have elevated the fight scenes or sad moments in this anime. But in my opinion, the background music in this anime is usually mundane. No standout tracks. For instance, during sad scenes or deaths, they should have chosen genuinely sad songs. But instead, they went with random tracks. As long as there's a hint of sadness, ha ha ha. Seriously, the director of this anime is quite odd. Oh, and this anime started feeling weird when Dracula died. And honestly, it should have ended there. They should have made it crystal clear to wrap it up. From weird scenes to overly lengthy conversations and those pesky plot holes. One of the plot holes in this anime, it seems like the creators didn't think it through. Probably because this anime wraps up with Dracula's death. Like when the revival magic is introduced, man, it's ridiculously absurd. Seriously strange. If there's magic like that, why doesn't Dracula just use it instead of going on a genocide spree? Seriously odd. With that kind of magic, he doesn't need to kill humans. He could just resurrect them himself. Remember, Dracula's portrayed as a central figure in this anime, practically all-powerful, so he should know all kinds of magic. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, it seems like they just wanted to keep the show going, hence all the absurdities, like even battling the god of death, haha. Why does the god of death need to come down to Earth to revive Dracula? Seriously bizarre. And here's the kicker. When characters Sokka and Katara Madara show up. Haha, I don't even know their names, man. Seriously clownish characters. In the beginning, they're shown as essential, then suddenly they're killed off by Alucard. Haha. What's the concept with these characters? What are they even there for? Just to promote your odd ideas? So the world knows about your absurd thoughts like the weird genital rubbing stuff. Haha. Seriously, I can't fathom their purpose. They come all the way from Japan to seek Alucard's help to learn to fight, but then they head to Alucard's room at night, wanting to kill him and saying they don't trust him. Here's my question. What were you doing all this time? You've traveled so far, spent days together. So what was the point if you don't trust him in the end? Seriously absurd. Haha, I don't know what the writers were thinking with these characters, but well, in the West, as long as their bizarre ideas get across, they probably don't care about logical coherence. And you'd think these characters were just there to traumatize Alucard about humans, but in the next episodes, Alucard's still dealing with humans just fine. Which means, whether these characters existed or not, Alucard would have gone to the village to save those vampire kids. Man, I'm utterly confused with Western storytelling like this. It's pretty clear that this anime just drags on for the sake of it. If it were a long episode anime, like Naruto or something, where fillers are required to keep the story going due to the long source material, that's okay. But this is just a seasonal anime with no set number of episodes, unlike typical Japanese series where it's around 12 episodes. So it should have gotten to the point. Why all the excessive fluff and absurd plot points? In season 1 alone, this anime had only 4 episodes. So why didn't they just go with that if they've run out of story material? Why stretch it out with unnecessary dialogues and weird plots whose purpose I can't fathom? For those of you thinking of watching this anime, I'd suggest stopping at Dracula's death, because going beyond that is just filled with absurdities. That's it for the downsides of this anime. I'd rate Castlevania a solid 7 out of 10. There's a lot of chatter, plot gets overly tangled, and sounds kinda meh. Even though animation-wise it's pretty rad, considering it's American animation, not Japanese. But seriously, if they could just axe the unnecessary rambling, that'd be way cooler. To the director of this show, if you happen to catch this vid, with season 5 getting announced when I made this, just get to the juicy parts, man. No need for all that small talk and scenes that are just filler. The story's already kick-ass, at least until Dracula's part. Anything more than that, it kinda takes a dip in the story's awesomeness. But you know, if they could just skip the pointless talk, this anime story would totally pick up its game. It's just missing that extra punch. Seems like the director's a bit off on this one.